Hello and welcome everybody to another episode of Books and Bytes.
Today
We're diving into...
we're diving into Arcane Narayan's Malgudi Days.
Yeah.
A collection of short stories that have charmed readers for decades.
It's such a fascinating collection, isn't it?
It really is.
Each story is like a window into this fictional South Indian Malgudi.
Malgudi, right? And while each story stands on its own, they all contribute to this larger tapestry of life in Malgudi.
Exactly.
The everyday joys and struggles, the quirky characters, and this sense of a society on the cusp of change.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You see this tension between tradition and modernity playing out in so many ways.
Yeah.
From the town council trying to erase colonial history in Lawley Road to the clash between a father's hopes and his son's reality and mother and son.
Yeah, and through it all, there's this undercurrent of humor, often ironic or bittersweet, that highlights the absurdities of life.
Narayan has this knack for finding the humor in the mundane.
Yeah. The unexpected connections between people and the ways in which fate can twist and turn.
So for our listener who might be new to Malgudi Days, should we think of it as a lighthearted read?
That's a good question.
Or does it delve into some deeper, more complex themes as well?
It definitely has its lighthearted moments.
Okay.
But Narayan doesn't shy away from exploring the complexities of life.
Yeah.
There's a lot of melancholy woven in there, too. A sense of loss and the precariousness of life.
I'm thinking about stories like The Blind Dog or A Willing Slave.
Right.
Where characters face circumstances that are both heartbreaking and deeply moving.
Exactly. And even in the more humorous stories, there's often an undercurrent of something deeper.
Yeah.
A longing for connection, a struggle with identity, or the weight of societal expectations.
Okay, so it sounds like we're in for a rich and layered reading experience.
Definitely.
Before we get into specific stories, is there anything about Narayan's writing style that stands out to you?
I think what's striking is his economy of language. He can paint a vivid picture, create memorable characters, and evoke a whole range of emotions in just a few sentences. It's like every word is carefully chosen.
Right.
Every detail purposeful.
And because each story is so concise, it feels like you're constantly being drawn into a new world, encountering new characters, and experiencing a fresh wave of emotions with every turn of the page.
That's a great way to put it. It's almost like a kaleidoscope of human experience.
Yeah.
Constantly shifting and revealing new patterns.
So let's start exploring those patterns.
Okay.
Where should we begin our journey through Malgudi?
Well, the collection doesn't follow a strict chronological order, but I think it's fitting to start with one of the earliest stories, An Astrologer's Day, which also happens to be the title story.
Perfect. I always love a good origin story.
Yeah.
What's so special about An Astrologer's Day?
It introduces us to this cunning astrologer who sets up shop each evening under a tamarind tree, using his wits and a few tricks to earn a living. But as the story unfolds, we learn that he's harboring a secret from his past.
Ooh, a secret. I'm intrigued already.
Yeah.
Does the story revolve around this secret being revealed?
In a way, yes.
Okay.
A man approaches the astrologer seeking insight into a past crime. The astrologer, recognizing this man from his own hidden past, must decide whether to confront the truth or maintain his carefully constructed facade.
Wow, what a dilemma.
Yeah.
It sounds like a story about the weight of the past, the choices we make, and the masks we wear to protect ourselves.
Precisely. And it highlights this recurring theme in Narayan's work. The idea that even in a small town like Malgudi, people are carrying hidden burdens, secrets that shape their lives in profound ways.
And you mentioned that Narayan's writing is so evocative.
Yes.
Are there any particular passages or descriptions in An Astrologer's Day that stand out?
Absolutely. The opening lines of the story are so beautifully crafted, painting a vivid picture of the astrologer and his surroundings. Punctually at midday, he opened his bag and spread out his professional equipment, which consisted of a dozen cowrie shells, a square piece of cloth with obscure mystic charts on it, a notebook, and a bundle of Palmyra writing.
Wow.
It's such a simple description, yet it instantly transports you to that street corner in Malgudi.
It's like you can almost smell the dust and spices in the air and feel the energy of the bustling marketplace surrounding the astrologers.
Exactly. And Narayan does this throughout the collection. He creates these immersive experiences with such economy of language.
Okay, so we started our journey with An Astrologer's Day and gotten a taste of the mysteries and complexities that lie beneath the surface of Malgudi.
Right.
Where should we head next?
Let's shift gears a bit
Okay.
and explore a story that delves into the world of childhood innocence and imagination.
Right.
Leela's Friend is a poignant tale
Okay.
that exposes the harsh realities of the adult world through the eyes of a young girl.
Oh, that sounds heartbreaking, especially considering what you said earlier about Narayan not shying away from difficult themes.
Yes.
What happens in Leela's Friend?
Leela, a young girl from a wealthy family, befriends Siddha, a servant boy hired to help around the house.
Okay.
Their friendship is pure and innocent,
Mm-hmm.
filled with games and shared secrets.
Okay.
But when a valuable necklace goes missing, suspicion falls on Siddha,
Oh, no.
and the consequences are devastating.
That's so tragic. It's like the story showing how easily innocence can be shattered by prejudice and the assumptions of adults.
Exactly. And it raises questions about social class power dynamics
Yeah?
and the ways in which our perceptions can blind us to the truth.
You mentioned that this story is told through Leela's perspective.
Uh-huh.
How does that affect the way we experience the events?
It's so powerful because we see everything through her innocent eyes.
Right.
She doesn't understand the complexities of the adult world or the prejudices that shape their actions.
Yeah.
To her, Siddha is simply her friend, someone she trusts and cares about.
It must make the injustice of the situation even more palpable for the reader.
It does.
We're experiencing it alongside Leela, feeling her confusion and heartbreak as the events unfold.
Precisely. And it forces us to confront our own biases and assumptions.
Right.
How often do we judge others based on superficial factors like social class or appearance without truly seeing them as individuals?
It's a sobering thought, and it speaks to the power of Narayan's storytelling.
Yeah.
He can take a seemingly simple situation, a friendship between two children, and use it to explore these profound themes about justice, prejudice, and loss of innocence.
And he does it with such sensitivity and nuance.
Yeah.
You feel for all the characters involved, even those who make mistakes or act out of fear and ignorance.
So we've gone from a story about secrets and the weight of the past to one about innocence and the complexities of the adult world.
Right.
It feels like we're getting a glimpse into the vast range of human experience that Narayan captures in Malgudi Days.
Yeah.
What other facets of life in Malgudi should we explore?
Let's move on to a story that captures the spirit of entrepreneurship and the dreams of a changing India.
Okay.
Engine Trouble is a hilarious tale about a man named Raju who wins a road engine at a fair thinking it's his ticket to fortune.
Okay, this sounds like a classic case of be careful what you wish for.
Exactly.
What kind of trouble does Raju get himself into?
Well, he soon realizes that owning a road engine is not as glamorous as it seems.
Uh-oh.
It's noisy, cumbersome, and attracts unwanted attention.
Okay.
He tries to make a profit by renting it out, but his plans backfire in a series of comical mishaps.
Well, I can just imagine the chaos.
Yeah.
It sounds like a perfect example of how Narayan can find humor in the most unexpected places.
Exactly. And there's also a subtle commentary on the changing landscape of India at the time.
Oh, interesting.
Raju's struggles with the road engine mirror the challenges of a society grappling with modernization and the allure of new technologies.
That's so interesting. It's like the road engine becomes a symbol of progress, but also a source of disruption and unintended consequences.
Precisely. And through Raju's misadventures, Narayan highlights the gap between aspirations and reality, the often comical clash between tradition and modernity.
It's a reminder that progress isn't always smooth sailing, and sometimes the pursuit of our dreams can lead to unexpected detours.
And those detours can be filled with humor, heartbreak, and moments of profound insight, all hallmarks of Narayan's masterful storytelling.
Speaking of masterful storytelling, one of the things that fascinates me about Malgudi Days is the way Narayan creates these incredibly memorable characters in such a short space.
Absolutely. He has a knack for capturing the essence of a person with just a few deft strokes, bringing them to life with vivid details and quirky mannerisms.
Okay, I'm ready to meet some more of these memorable characters. Where to next?
Let's delve into The Missing Male, a story that explores the ripple effects of seemingly small actions.
Intriguing. What kind of missing male are we talking about here?
Yeah.
And who's at the center of this story?
We meet Thanappa, a dedicated postman who takes his job very seriously. He's been delivering mail in Malgudi for years, and he knows everyone on his route, their families, their stories.
So he's not just delivering letters, he's delivering connections,
Right.
pieces of people's lives.
Exactly. But one day, he becomes so engrossed in a family drama unfolding before his eyes that he forgets to deliver a crucial letter.
Oh, that sounds like trouble brewing. What kind of letter was it?
It was a job acceptance letter.
Okay.
A life-changing opportunity for a young man who's been struggling to find work.
Okay, now the stakes are really high. A misdelivery could have a huge impact on this young man's future.
And it does. The delay causes a chain reaction of events leading to misunderstandings, missed opportunities, and a whole lot of heartache.
This is reminding me of that famous butterfly effect idea. How even the smallest flap of a butterfly's wings can set off a chain of events that impact the entire world. It seems like Narayan's exploring that concept on a human scale in The Missing Mail.
That's a great connection. Thanapa's seemingly insignificant oversight has profound consequences, highlighting the interconnectedness of our lives and the often unforeseen ripple effects of our actions.
It's also making me think about the theme of fate, which seems to play a significant role in many of these stories. Do you think Narayan is suggesting that our lives are predetermined? Or do we have agency in shaping our own destinies?
That's a fascinating question.
Yeah.
And I think it's one that Narayan leaves open to interpretation.
Okay.
There are certainly moments in Malgudi Days where characters seem at the mercy of fate, like the astrologer encountering his past in the first story, or the salesman facing a tiger in the tiger's claw.
Oh, yes, the tiger's claw. That one sounds intense. Remind me what happens in that story.
A traveling salesman gets stranded in a remote train station during a storm.
Okay.
As night falls, he realizes he's trapped inside with a tiger that's somehow gotten loose.
Okay, now that's a situation where you'd feel like fate had dealt you a really bad hand. How does the salesman deal with this terrifying predicament?
He barricades himself in a room using whatever he can find furniture luggage.
Oh, my God.
Even his sample suitcases to hold the tiger at bay.
Wow.
It's a tense, claustrophobic story full of suspense and psychological drama.
And the tiger's claw, where does that come into play?
That detail adds this eerie, almost mythical layer to the story.
Huh?
We learn that the salesman's daughters have necklaces with tiger claws on them, a reminder of a previous encounter he had with a tiger.
Like a foreshadowing of this present danger. A suggestion that maybe he's destined to face these encounters.
And it also makes you think about the cyclical nature of life, how the past can echo into the present.
Right.
And how we carry our experiences with us even when we try to move on.
It's those layers of meaning, those subtle connections that Narayan weaves into his stories that make them so compelling.
Absolutely. He doesn't spell everything out for the reader.
Right.
He invites us to engage with the stories, to draw our own conclusions, and to ponder the bigger questions about fate, free will, and the human condition.
We've touched on stories about chance encounters, childhood innocence, and entrepreneurship gone awry. What other aspects of life in Malgudi should we explore?
Let's delve into the world of family dynamics and societal expectations with mother and son. This story is a poignant exploration of the complexities of parent-child relationships and the challenges of letting go.
You mentioned this story earlier when we were talking about tradition and modernity.
Yeah.
How did those themes play out in Mother and Son?
We meet a widowed mother who's fiercely devoted to her son, but their relationship is fraught with tension. She clings to traditional values, wanting him to settle down and get married, but he's yearning for something more, a life beyond the confines of their small town.
It sounds like a classic generational clash, conflict between the old ways and the aspirations of a younger generation.
Exactly, and it's made even more poignant by the fact that the son, although he loves his mother, feels stifled by her expectations. He wants to break free to find his own path. But he's also torn by his sense of duty and filial piety.
It's like he's caught between two worlds. The familiar comfort of his mother's love and the allure of a life yet to be lived.
And that tension, that struggle to reconcile his own desires with the expectations of his family and society is what drives the story.
It makes me wonder how much of this tension was influenced by the time period in which Narayan was writing. India was undergoing immense changes, gaining independence, grappling with modernization, redefining its identity.
That's a great observation.
Yeah.
It's no coincidence that so many of these stories revolve around characters who are caught between tradition and change. They're navigating a world in flux, trying to make sense of their place in a society that's rapidly evolving.
It's like Malgudi itself becomes a microcosm of this larger transformation taking place in India.
Right.
And through the lives of these ordinary people, Narayan captures the hopes, anxieties, and complexities of this historical moment.
And he does it with such compassion and insight. You
Yeah.
feel for these characters, their struggles, their triumphs, their moments of quiet despair and unexpected joy.
We've talked about stories that explore the ripple effects of small actions, the power of human connection, the clash between tradition and modernity, and the complexities of family dynamics. It feels like we're just scratching the surface of the richness and depth of Malgudi Days.
We are. And there are so many more stories waiting to be discovered, tales of ambition and disillusionment, love and loss, humor and heartbreak.
All right, lead the way. What other gems should we unearth from this treasure trove of stories?
Let's talk about A Willing Slave, a story that explores themes of loyalty loss and the passage of time.
That title already evokes a sense of melancholy. What's the story behind this willing slave?
It revolves around a gardener named Krishnan who has spent his entire life tending to the gardens of a once grand estate.
Okay.
He's deeply connected to the land, to the rhythms of nature, and to his master's family.
It sounds like a life of quiet devotion, testament to the enduring power of place and connection.
It is. But as the years pass, the estate falls into decline.
Oh.
The family's fortunes dwindle, and the once vibrant gardens begin to wither.
Oh, that's heartbreaking. It's like a metaphor for the fading of a way of life, the inevitable march of time.
Exactly. And Krishnan witnesses this decline with a mixture of sadness and acceptance. He continues to tend to the gardens with the same care and devotion, even as the world around him changes.
It makes me think about those lines from the poem Ode to a Nightingale. Beauty is truth. Truth, beauty, that is all you know on earth and all you need to know. Even though the estate is fading, Krishnan finds beauty and truth in his unwavering devotion to his task.
That's a beautiful connection, and it speaks to the deeper themes that Narayan is exploring in this story, the resilience of the human spirit, the enduring power of nature, and the beauty that can be found even in the face of loss.
You mentioned earlier that Narayan has a knack for creating memorable characters. What makes Krishnan stand out?
He's a quiet observer, a man of few words, but his actions speak volumes. He embodies a kind of steadfast loyalty and dedication that's increasingly rare in the modern world.
It's like he represents a connection to a simpler, perhaps more traditional way of life, a way of life that's slowly disappearing as modernity encroaches upon Malgudi.
That's a great point. And his story serves as a poignant reminder of what can be lost in the relentless pursuit of progress.
We've talked about stories that focus on individual characters and their personal journeys. Are there any stories in Malgudi Days that take a broader perspective, looking at the social or political landscape of Malgudi?
The Martyr's Corner offers a glimpse into the political undercurrents of Malgudi.
Oh, intriguing. What's the Martyr's Corner and what kind of political events unfold there?
It's a bustling street corner where a food vendor named Rama has set up shop.
Okay.
He serves delicious snacks to the people of Malgudi, becoming a beloved fixture in the community.
It sounds like a microcosm of everyday life in Malgudi, a gathering place where people from all walks of life come together.
Exactly. But things take a turn when political unrest erupts in the town.
Uh-oh.
A statue is erected in the square, commemorating a local figure who was killed in a protest.
Ah, so the Martyr's Corner becomes a symbol of political struggle, a site of both commemoration and potential conflict.
Precisely. And Rama's simple food stall gets caught in the crossfire. He's forced to navigate the shifting political landscape, trying to stay neutral and protect his livelihood.
It's like his little corner of Malgudi reflects the larger political tensions that are bubbling up in the country.
Exactly. And through Rama's experiences, Narayan offers a subtle commentary on the impact of political upheaval on everyday life.
It reminds me of how we often talk about political events in abstract terms, forgetting that they have real-world consequences for ordinary people.
That's a great point. The Martyr's Corner brings those consequences into sharp focus, showing how political events can disrupt lives, create divisions, and force people to make difficult choices.
We've explored so many facets of life in Malgudi through these stories, the joys and sorrows, the humor and heartbreak, the clash between tradition and modernity. Is there any one story that you feel captures the essence of Malgudi Days?
It's difficult to choose just one,
Yeah.
but 45 a Month always stands out for me.
What makes 45 a Month so special?
It's a simple yet profound story about a low-paid clerk named Shanta Ram who wants to take his daughter to the cinema but is struggling to make ends meet.
It sounds like a universal struggle. The desire to provide for one's family and the challenges of balancing work and personal life.
Exactly. And Shanta Ram embodies that struggle with a mix of quiet dignity and desperation.
Yeah.
He loves his daughter and wants to give her a special treat, but he's also trapped by his circumstances, his meager salary, and his demanding boss.
It sounds like a story that speaks to the economic realities of life in Malgudi, the gap between the haves and the have-nots.
It does, and it also highlights the importance of small joys,
Right.
the simple pleasures that can bring a moment of happiness in the midst of hardship.
I'm curious about the title 45 a month. Does that refer to Shantaram's salary?
It does, and it becomes a symbol of his limited options, the constraints that define his life.
It's a powerful reminder that for some, even the simplest of pleasures can feel out of reach.
And yet, in the face of these challenges, Shantaram finds a way to create a special memory for his daughter, a moment of joy that transcends their financial limitations.
It's a testament to the human spirit, the ability to find hope and happiness, even in the most difficult of circumstances.
And that's what makes Malgudi Days so enduring. It's a celebration of the ordinary, a reminder that life is made up of these small moments, these fleeting glimpses of beauty and connection.
As we wrap up our deep dive into Malgudi Days, I'm struck by the universality of these stories. Even though they're set in a specific time and place, they resonate with readers across cultures and generations.
That's the magic of Narayan's writing. He captures the essence of human experience, the joys and sorrows, the hopes and fears, the absurdities and the profound truth in a way that transcends cultural boundaries.
Well, I think we've done justice to this wonderful collection. We've explored the streets of Malgudi, met a cast of unforgettable characters, and delved into the rich tapestry of life that Narayan has created.
It's been a pleasure revisiting Malgudi with you. It's a place that stays with you long after you've closed the book.
And for our listeners, if you haven't yet experienced the magic of Malgudi Days, we highly recommend picking up a copy and immersing yourselves in the world of R.K. Narayan. You won't be disappointed.
Until next time, happy reading.